Yasodanandana Petrochanjana Yasodanandana Petrochanranjana Yamuna Tira Panachari Yamuna Tira Panachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jayam Swa Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parbajaka Charja Asatar Sata Sri Srimad Abhay Charnarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Swa Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parbajaka Charja Asatar Sata Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnavina Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Gaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Sri Mathura Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Gangame Ki Jai, Yamuname Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Sri Sri Gaurnitai Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, given by Srila Vyasadeva, the personality of Godhead. Canto 2, Chapter 3, Pure Devotional Service, the Change in Heart. Text numbers 2 through 7. Brahma, Vachasa, Kamastu, Yajeta, Brahmana, Atim, Indram, Indriyakamastu, Rajakama, Chapati, Devi, Mayam, to Sri Kama, Teja, Vasu, Vasukam, Vasu, Rudram, Sutam Chakama Sajjan Samsadaka Visham Yaskam Aspan Deva Aspan Shtakam Shtakam Sham Si Sham Chakam Sabisham Jaitam Shtam Yashaskam Shakam Jaitasam Shan Sampatjarta Umam Satim Rama Vachnas Kamastu Jaita Brahmanapatim Indram Indriya Kamastu Jakama Pajapatin Devi Mayam tu Sri Kamas Tejas Kama Vibhavasum Vasu Kama Vasun Rudram Raya Kama Tarayavan Nadya Kamas Twadatim Sarga Kama Dite Sutan Visvandevan Rajakama Sajjan Samsadaka Visham Ayuskama Svisvesvana Deva Ishtakama Ilam Yaje Ishtakama Purusho Radasi Lokamatara Rupa Bikama Ganharvan Strikamo Shara Orvasim Adipatya Kama Sarvesham Yajeta Parameshtanam Jagnam Jagne Yasas Kama Kosha Kama Pachetasam Vidya Kama Stagirisham Sampacharta Imam Satim Rama Vachnas Kamastu Yajeta Brahmanapatim Indram Indriya Kamastu Jakama Prajapatin Devi Mayam Tusri Kamas Tajas Kama Vibhavasum Vasu Kama Vasun Rudran Virya Kama Tarviryavan Nadya Kamas to Aditim Saga Kama Dite Sutan Visvandevan Raja Kama Sajjam Samadhi Ko Visham Ayus Kama Svana Deva Shti Kama Ilam Yaje Dishta Kama Purusho Rodasi Lokamatara Rupa Bikama Ganharvan Stri Kamo Sara Urvashim Adipatya Kama Sarvesham Yajeta Padameshtanam Yagdam Yaja Yashaskama Koshakama Pachetasam Vidya Kamastagirisham Sampatyarta Imam Sitim Rachasya Kamastu Yajeta Parmanapatim Indramindya Kamastu Pachakama Pachapatin Devi Mayam Tusri Kamas Tejas Kamo Bhavasasum Vasu Kamo Vasun Rudran Virya Kamo Taviryavan and Adya Kamos to Aditim Sarvakamo Dite Sutan Svandeva Vajakama Sadyan
Jisakamas too.
Udasi Loka Matara Rupapi Kamo Gandharvan Sri Kamo Sara Urvashim Adipatya Kama Sarvesham Parameshtanam Jagnam Yaja Yashaskama Kosha Kama Pachetasam Vidya Kamastagirisham Sampatyarta Vimam Sitim. Please chant.
Brahmavarchasakamas too.
Nata Kamastagamastu
Yajeta Brahmanapatim.
Jeta Ramanapatim
Indram Indriya Kamastu.
Indram Indriya Kamastu
Prajakama Prajapatim.
Jakama Prajapatin.
Anyone else? Marigata Kamastu
Yajeta Brahmanapatim Indram Indriya Kamastu Prajakama Prajapatin Japati
Brahma Varchas Kamastu Yajita Brahmanapatim Indram Indriya Kamastu Raja Kama Prajapatin
Brahmavarchasakamastu Brahmavarchasakamastu Yajeta Brahmanapatim Indram Indriya Kamastu Indram Indriya Kamastu Prajakama Prajapatin
Chakama Pachapati
Brahmavarchasakamastu Yajeta Brahmanapatim
Ita Vadavagatim
Indram Indriya Kamastu Prajakama Prajapatin
Chakama Pachapati
Brahmavarchasakamastu
Brahmavarchanas Kamastu
Yajeta Brahmanapatim
Jeta Brahmanapatim
Indram Indriya Kamastu
Indriya Kamastu
Prajakama Prajapatin,
Prajakama Prajapatin,
Brahmavarcha Sakamastu,
Kamastu,
Yajeta Brahmanapatim,
Jeta Pramanapatim,
Indramindriya Kamastu,
Jamindriya Kamastu,
Prajakama Prajapatin,
Jakama Prajapatim,
Brahma Vacha Sakamastu.
Kamastu,
Yeta Brahmana Patim.
Sizapatim,
Indram Indriya Kamastu. Rajakama Prajapati.
Varchasa kamastu yajeta brahmanapatim indram indriya kamastu prajakama prajapatim
I'm sorry, Brahma, the Absolute, Varchasa, effulgence, Kamastu, the one who desires in that way, Yajeta, to worship, Brahmana of the Vedas, Atim, Master, Indram, the King of Heaven, Indriya Kamas, to one who desires strong sense organs, Jakama, one who desires many offspring, Prajapatin, Prajapatis, Devim, the goddess, Mayam, unto the mistress of the material world, to but Sri Kama, one who desires beauty, Deja, power, Kama, one who so desires, Vibhavasum, the fire god, Vasukama, one who wants wealth, Vasun, the Vasu demigods, Rudran, the Rudra expansion of Lord Shiva, Viryakama, one who wants to be very strongly built. Atta, therefore, Viryavan, most powerful, and Adyan reigns. Kama, one who so desires, to but Aditim, Aditi, mother of the demigods, Sarga, heaven, Kama, so desiring, Adite Sutan, the sons of Aditi, Visvan, Visvadeva, Devan, demigods, Rajakama, those who hanker for kingdoms, Sadhya, the Sadhya demigods, Samsadaka, what fulfills the wishes, Visham of the mercantile community, Ayuskama, desirous of long life, Ashvana, the two demigods known as the Ashvini brothers, Deva, the two demigods, Ishtikama, one who desires a strongly built body, Ilam, the earth, Yajay, must worship, Tishtakama, one who desires good fame or stability in a post, Purusha, such men, Rodasi, the horizon, Lokamarta, and the earth, Rupam, beauty, Abhikama, positively aspiring for, Gandharvan, the residents of the Gandharva planet who are very beautiful and are expert in singing. Stri Kama, one who desires a good wife. Apsara Urvashim, the society girls of the heavenly kingdom. Adipatya-kama, one who desires to dominate others. Sarvesham, everyone. Ijeta, must worship. Parameshtanam, Brahma, the head of the universe. Jagyam, the personality of Godhead. Yajay, must worship. Yashas Kama, one who desires to be famous. Koshakama, one who desires a good bank balance. Jaitasam, the treasure of heaven known as Kuvera. Vidyakamastu, but one who desires education. Girisham, the Lord of the Himalayas, Lord Shiva. Sampatya Arta, and for conjugal love. Umamasatim, the chaste wife of Lord Shiva, known as Uma. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. One who desires to be absorbed in the impersonal Brahmajyoti effulgence should worship the master of the Vedas, Lord Brahma, or Brihaspati, the learned priest. One who desires powerful sex should worship the heavenly king Indra. And one who desires good progeny should worship the great progenitors called the Prajapatis. One who desires good fortune should worship Durga Devi, or the superintendent of the material world. One desiring to be very powerful should worship fire, and one who aspires after money only should worship the Vasus. One should worship the Rudra incarnation of Lord Shiva if he wants to be a great hero. One who wants a large stock of grains should worship Aditi. One who desires a worldly kingdom should worship Vishvadeva. And one who wants to be popular with the general mass of population should worship the Sadhya demigod. One who desires a long span of life should worship the demigods known as Ashvini Kumars. And the person desiring a strongly built body should worship the earth. One who desires stabilization in his post should worship the horizon and the earth combined. One who desires to be beautiful should worship the beautiful residents of the Gandharva planet. And one who desires a good wife should worship the Apsaras and the Avashi society girls of the heavenly kingdom. One who desires tangible fame should worship the personality of Godhead. And one who desires a good bank balance should worship the demigod Varuna. If one desires to be a greatly learned man, he should worship Lord Shiva. And if one desires a good marital relation, he should worship the chaste goddess Uma, wife of Lord Shiva. Report. There are different modes of worship for different persons desiring success in particular subjects. The conditioned soul, living within the purview of the material world, cannot be an expert in every type of materially enjoyable asset. But one cannot have considerable influence over a particular matter by worshiping a particular demigod, as mentioned above. Ravana was made a very powerful man by worshiping Lord Shiva, and he used to offer severed heads to please Lord Shiva. He became so powerful by the grace of Lord Shiva that all the demigods were afraid of him, until he at last challenged the personality of Godhead, Sri Ramachandra, and thus ruin himself. In other words, all such persons who aspire after gaining some or all of the material objects of enjoyment, or the gross materialistic persons, are on the whole less intelligent, as it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7:20. It is said there that those who are bereft of all good sense, or those whose intelligence is withdrawn by the deluding energy of Maya, aspire after all sorts of material enjoyment in life by pleasing the respective demigods, or by advancing the material civilization under the heading of scientific progress. The real problem of life in the material world is to solve the question of birth, death, old age, and disease. No one wants to change his birthright. No one wants to meet death. No one wants to be old or invalid. No one wants diseases. These problems are solved neither by the grace of any demigod nor by the so-called advancement of material science. In the Bhagavad Gita, as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, such less intelligent persons have been described as devoid of all good sense. Shukadeva Goswami said that out of the 8,400,000 species of living entities, the human form of life is rare and valuable. And out of those rare human beings, those who are conscious of the material problems are rare still. And the still more rare persons are those who are conscious of the value of the Srimad Bhagavatam, because it contains the messages of the Lord and his pure devotees. Death is inevitable for everyone, intelligent and foolish. But Pariksit Maharaj has been addressed by the Goswami as the Manishi, or the man of highly developed mind, because at the time of death he left all material enjoyment and completely surrendered under the lotus feet of the Lord by hearing his messages from the right person, like Shukadeva Goswami. Aspiration for material enjoyment by endeavoring persons is condemned. Such aspirations are something like the intoxication of the degraded human society. Intelligent persons should try to avoid it and seek instead the permanent life by returning home, back to Godhead. This is the statement of Sri Shukadeva Goswami in answering the intelligent question of Maharaj Pariksit. So when most persons go to the spiritual master are not intelligent, and they ask for material things or things that are temporary and flickering. And when they get those things, they're not good for prosecuting Krishna consciousness. But Pariksit Maharaj is described here as Rishi, or very intelligent. Manishi, a man of highly developed mind, because he renounced this material world and he took complete shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Shukadeva Goswami, and thus attained the highest benediction by returning home back to Godhead. So Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedas give directions for the human beings, and not all human beings are equal. There are persons in the mode of goodness, there are persons in the mode of passion, and there are persons in the mode of ignorance. And here, these instructions for worshiping various demigods for various material benedictions are meant for those in the lower modes of material nature. Once there was a demon named Vrikasura, and he was wanting a benediction, but he didn't know where to get this benediction. And by chance, he met Narada Muni. He was traveling all over the universe. And Vrikasura inquired from Narada Muni, are the three presiding deities of this material world. Which of these deities is more quickly pleased? And Narada Muni replied, the three deities are Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. And out of these three, Lord Shiva is the most quickly pleased. So this Vrikasura decided to worship Lord Shiva to get a material benediction. And this is a very foolish demon. But he went to Kedarnath in the Himalayas, which is almost always covered by snow. But in the month of July, it's possible to go there and worship Lord Shiva. So Vrikasura went to Kedarnath and he ignited a sacrificial fire, because the process for making sacrifice to the deities is to offer something in the fire. So this Vrikasura began cutting off pieces of its own flesh and offering it in the sacrificial fire. And he did this for 6 days. And after 6 days, he became impatient because he had not yet met his deity. So this is one of the characteristics of the demon. When offering something to their respective deity, they want to take the benediction face to face. But a devotee, he can offer something to Krishna or Lord Narayan, and he's confident that the Lord accepts it without having to see the Lord face to face, because he offers first to Guru. This is the process. One cannot jump over Guru. One cannot jump over the parampara and try to approach Krishna directly. This is not the way authorized. One has to first, the process of deity worship, one first offers to one's Guru, and he offers that thing to his Guru, and his Guru. In this way, eventually goes back to Sri Sri Gauranitai, and ultimately to the source of everything, Sri Krishna. So after 6 days, this demon, Vrikasura, decided, now I shall cut off my own head and offer it in the fire to Lord Shiva. So Vrikasura took a bath in a nearby lake, because the process of sacrificing animals is first you bathe the animal with water, and while the animal is still wet, it is sacrificed before the deity. So Vrikasura did this. He took his bath and he was prepared to cut off his own head and offer it in the fire. But at that moment, Lord Shiva before him and said, "What are you doing? Don't sacrifice your body. Don't commit suicide." Because Lord Shiva is very compassionate, and he doesn't like to see anybody commit suicide. And Lord Shiva told this Vrikasura that it is not necessary to cut off your head. I'm prepared to give you any benediction you want. But actually, Lord Shiva is satisfied simply by pouring Ganges water on his head and offering the fruits and leaves of the bilba tree. And Lord Shiva's wife Durga is also worshipped by the fruits and leaves of the bilba tree. So this demon concocted its own process of worship, which was very difficult. So this Vrikasura said, I desire that when I touch my hand to someone's head, that person's head will immediately crack and that person will die. And but she was thought, what have I done? I've given this fool a chance for a benediction that'll be harmful. And So when the Vrikasura got this benediction, he approached Lord Shiva because Vrikasura desired to kill Lord Shiva so that Vrikasura could enjoy Lord Shiva's wife, Parvati. And Lord Shiva became so afraid he began trembling, and he began to flee up to the sky, and from the sky to the higher planets and the different planets all over the universe. And at last he reached at the end of the universe, and this demon was still following Lord Shiva, trying to touch his head. So finally, Lord Shiva took shelter in Svetadweep. Svetadweep is the Vaikuntha planet in this universe. And then Svetadweep is the abode of Lord Narayan. And Lord Narayan appeared there in the form of a brahmachari. He was wearing a brahmachari clothes like a deer skin, a rod, a sacred thread. And he was very effulgent. And both Lord Shiva and Vrikasura were attracted by this brahmachari's effulgence. Actually, this brahmachari was disguised as this is the disguise of Lord Narayan. And Lord Narayan told Vrikasura that don't put your faith in the words of Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva was cursed by his father-in-law Daksha to become a Pisacha, a ghost. I wouldn't trust the words of Lord Shiva, but if you want to make an experiment, you could touch your own head, and if the benediction proves to be false, you could kill this liar, Lord Shiva. And even before this, Lord Narayan offered obeisances to this demon just to soften him up so that he would accept his advice. And he also said this, I know your father is Shakuni. So because Lord Narayan had a familiar relationship with Vrikasura's father, he accepted his advice. And Lord Narayan told him, if you want to make an experiment, touch your own head. So Vrikasura believed in the words of this brahmachari, and he touched his own head, and immediately Vrikasura's head cracked, and he gave up his body. So this is an example of the problem with worshiping demigods. When a person in a mode of ignorance or passion worships demigods, he may quickly get the benediction, but as he becomes opulent, he becomes neglectful of his benefactors. So this demon was so abominable that he desired to kill the person who gave him this benediction. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7:23 that those who are apamadasam, those who are lost their intelligence, take shelter of the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. But by worshiping Krishna or Vishnu, one gets unlimited spiritual strength, and he advances more and more in devotional service. And this is the ultimate goal of life, is to develop love of God. And this is possible by worshiping Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna and not the demigods, because the demigods are like you and I. They're conditioned souls. They're devotees who have material desires, and that they cannot give liberation or love of God, unlike Lord Vishnu. Are there any comments or questions?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes. Nice. Thank you for that. It's better than worshiping these different demigods. It's better to worship Krishna, even if one has those material desires. Akama sarva kama va, moksha kama udaradi, Sravana bhakti yogena, yajeta purusham puram. It's still better to engage in devotional service and worship Krishna. Because let's say one wants a beautiful wife. He may pray to Uma to get a beautiful wife, but that wife may bewilder him. He may become so attracted by that beautiful wife, he'll forget about devotional service to Krishna. Or he may ask for worshiping the demigods to get wealth. Or he may worship the demigods to get a very strong body. He might become bewildered by Maya. These are all products of Maya, produced in the material world. And the material world is working, Maya dakshena prakriti, suyate charasaram, hetanani nikonte jagati parivartate. Under Maya, as his illusory energy. And so that means any benedictions we get in the material world are filled with illusory potency. And we may forget that we're supposed to be getting rid of these things. But if we worship Krishna and we ask, I want a nice wife to help me serve Krishna. Oh, that's intelligent. Because then Krishna will give you a wife that will help you in devotional service, and you'll be able to go back to Godhead. Because a devotee, when he prays to Krishna, generally he says, my Lord, if you want, if you like, I have some desire for this, but I'm not sure that it's the best thing for me. I leave it to your discretion. So if you think it's good for me, then you kindly make the arrangement, and I'll accept it, and I'll serve. So that way, it's safe, because Krishna says, there's a place in Chaitanya Charitamrita where Krishna says that many people worship me to get different things, but I don't necessarily give them what will cause them to ask for more material things again and again and again. I will give them, somehow or other, I'll give them what they want, and I'll give them myself also. And then they'll be satisfied with serving me, and they'll never ask for more material things. So that's Krishna. He says, I'm intelligent. I don't give them just because, like these quick, you were saying about who gives the quickest response to the Ashutosh. That's Lord Shiva. He sometimes gets in trouble, and sometimes Krishna has to chastise even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma sometimes, because they give these benedictions too quickly, too easily. Whereas Krishna, not so easy to get the quick benediction, but when you get something, it'll be spiritual. Krishna will give you spiritual things because he knows. There's that nice verse. Maybe you can help me with the Sanskrit. It says, when someone comes and worships the Lord, he wants to serve Krishna, but at the same time, he wants material enjoyment. He's kind of torn. So he comes to me, and Krishna says, I take everything away from all his material opulence away. So he has no chance anymore for getting entangled. I take his wealth away, so he doesn't even have wealth to attract his own family members. They also give him up. But then the devotee that's left in that position, then he realizes, oh, Krishna, I have no one else but you. You're my only shelter, and he surrenders. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's time for the Sankirtan Festival. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
From this week of April 17th, we'll read the scores for the pleasure of the Sampradaya Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, Sri Sri Gauranitai, Tulsi Maharani, the assembled devotees, Lord Nrsingadev, Ki Jai. So we had 5 book distributors this week, and in the 5th position with 1 Maha book for 2 book points, Rishi Kumar Das. Hare Krishna. In 3rd position with 4 Maha books, 9 big books, 6 medium books, 3 small books, and 20 for a total of 20.75 book points. Magadari Prabhu. Haribo. In 2nd position with 10 small books, 10 big books, 17 Maha big books for a total of 46.5 book points. Jagannath Prabhu, Haribo. And in 1st position with 11 small books, 15 big books, 20 Maha big books for a total of 57.75 book points. Bhakti Damodar Prabhu, Haribo. And that makes the RVC total 24 small books, 6 medium books, 34 big books, and 42 Maha big books for a total of 127 book points. Haribo.
Haribo. Jagannath Prabhu and I went to, I don't know exactly, some Aldi's parking lot, Target parking lot, and yeah, by Legends, yeah, exactly. And it was nectar. There's some one guy just walking down. He was like listening to music. He's just yelling the lyrics. Like, that's a great opportunity to talk to him. And I went up to him and started preaching, and he really liked what I was saying. So he took a book, and then while I was preaching to him, Jagannath was next to me on the phone on the curb talking to Rishi, and some woman pulls up in her van, and she points at Jagannath, and she's like, give him this as a $5 bill or something. She's like, I really like what he was saying. And then the guy that I was talking to, he was like, yeah, I believe them too. Can I get a donation? And then that was the interaction, and it was pretty nectar. So Transcendental Buddhist tradition, Ki Jai.
Prabhu, Jagannath Prabhu, can you give a highlight over the Zoom?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you.
So we went to a Walmart, and me and Bhakti Damodar, and we were walking around, and we saw this guy with long hair, and I said to him, I said, man, I really like your long hair. And he was he was receptive towards that, and he was with his mom. So I thought it wasn't gonna go so well because she didn't look like she was into it. But so yeah, I told him about the book, and he was saying, wow, I'm really into this, and I really like this stuff. And what really got my attention was that he said, my friends call me Hippie Jesus, because he had a beard and long hair. So that was nice. They gave a nice donation, and they got a book. So Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai.
Yay!
So the book distribution that I was remembering was that there was somebody that came yesterday. His name is Riley. He's pretty nice, a young gentleman, very intelligent person. And he said he came to the temple because of the Beatles. And so I got him the chant "Be Happy," and he already gotten like a Bhagavad Gita as a gift or something, and some beads and things like that. But I said, I gave him the chant "Be Happy," and I said there's some conversation with the Beatles and Prabhupada, so can you give a donation? So he said, well, I have $1. And that was nice. So he gave that, and we walked him out to the car, and it was a good time. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.
Bhakta Riley was here yesterday, and he went to meet Maharaj, and afterwards I gave him a Bhagavad Gita and showed him how to chant on the beads and gave him the beads. And then he gave me back the beads, and I said, no, those are for you. And he said, oh, thank you. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.